Welcome back, guys. Today I'm going to get you hitting the ball like this. And we're going to do that by working on our angle of attack. I teach a lot of people here, and a lot of people aren't quite sure what's a good angle of attack number. So I've got the TrackMan up, and we're going to look at dynamic loft, angle of attack, low point, and launch angle. This should really start to get you hitting the ball a bit further without actually having to try and hit it any harder. So let's get into it. So this drill is really going to help control our low point. You can imagine with an iron shot, we need to strike more on the yellow side of the circle, a downward angle of attack. Whereas the green side of the circle would be great for a driver where we need to hit more up. Low point also changes club path. You can see on the yellow side of the circle with down strike, I have more of an inside path. Whereas when I go into the green side, when I hit more up, the path goes more left. When you really start to delve into how to create downstrike, you will often find videos that say cover the ball. Now, covering the ball is really, really important for maintaining strike. However, most of them give you advice on how to control the upper half. My point to you is going to be that the lower half is responsible for making the upper half tilt in a certain direction. If we just try and cure our upper half, we're very, very likely to start swinging like this, because we're not really fixing the pelvis moving sideways, but we're just feeling more over the ball. So to help you create a sustainable cover it feeling, we're instead going to look at what the lower half does. Now, quite often, as you're moving into your transition and you're having a little bit of lateral movement towards target, the lead leg stays bent for far too long. What we'd like to feel instead is that if I had something behind my back pocket, so I'm trying to feel as if I push my left hip using my left foot and my left leg, and I'm going through the posting up phase. So it's not that my lead hip is staying down, it's actually rising up behind me because this left leg is extending. But what it's doing, it's creating the space for my left hip to work back as my right shoulder can therefore work through. Now, this is really, really key to have that balance. Otherwise, you're going to lose control of your weight through the swing and struggle with other problems. What tends to happen is that when you get into a better downswing position with the left leg, is that it starts to accelerate the right shoulder. And the right shoulder and right arm have to make their way in front of the body and passed onto the left leg so that they can apply some pressure onto the handle. If the lower half is firing too early and the arm gets stuck behind us, it's very likely that we're not going to be able to keep the handle speed or the pressure on the handle kind of up enough for us to keep it moving past and therefore move the low point later. So what I want you to try and imagine is that in one swing where there's too much sideways movement, we go into too much side bend. But in itself, side bend is a good thing, because if you look at any swing from down the line, there is always side bend. Okay, some have more than others, but there's always side bend because we're moving around our posture. The feel, before we get onto the drill, the feel is essentially to make a couple of backswings where you get into a good spot. Okay, again, like other videos, there's always variables that need to be in place first. But then I want you to feel as if you're going to try and go into flexion of the left hip, using the left foot, or the lead foot, sorry, left-handed, or the lead foot to push the lead hip behind you. As you push the lead hip behind you and it starts to extend, you can see there my chest is very much capable of staying over the ball. What this does to low point, and I'm going to just shuffle around now, what this does to low point, when you start to get into this position, because the chest is able to stay more forward because of the space my hip has opened up, then what I can do is essentially apply some pressure onto the top of the handle. That's essentially what I'm doing now to keep this club from falling down. If I remove the pressure, the club head swings and we hit the ground early. So the importance of getting into this position is vital, because it means we can keep some pressure moving on the handle and keep the handle lower for longer, and i.e. keep the club head loaded for longer, and that delays the club's descent. So this next drill is one of my favorites. However, there's a couple of key points. If you struggle with a slice, you need to make sure that the face is square first. So the first part of this drill is going to be the most important part. If you struggle with a hook, you can go all out on this drill because improving your level of downstrike will make the ball come off straighter. So this is a very, very simple drill, and it's called jumping the fence. And there's two stages to this. One is we're going to set up imagining our ball is outside the end of the drill stick. And the drill stick, I would put it just forward of the middle of your stance to put a bit more emphasis on moving the low point later. The key part, and this little adjustment that we're going to make, thinking about what we were just trying to do with pushing the hip back so that we can stay in more forward flexion and therefore pressure on the handle, is to place your hand so the palm is at your target, on the side of the golf club. Now this, once you get used to it, it's very, very difficult. When you get used to it, you'll realize that you don't have to hold the club in the air with your right hand. Instead, it's more about pressure that you can apply to the handle. So what we do is address the end of the drill stick. So we're not going to clatter the drill stick on the first try. Place the hand on the side of the club, then work through a couple of feelings where you try and get the gist of having the club here, where your hand will be slightly on top of the club. For you people that slice it, that's essentially what a square club face would feel like. And then you're going to try and feel as if the left leg and the right shoulder start to work together to move the ground strike after the drill stick. And you just give it 4 or 5 goes, and you'll find that you're applying pressure to the drill stick. Okay? Next, when you do that, and I would almost hit a few balls in between doing the first stage of this drill and the second stage. The second stage is a little bit more difficult. So if I don't do this first time, you'll have to bear with me. So we're going to do the same thing, okay? Drill stick in the same place, but now we're going to bring ourselves back. So actually, we're going to jump the fence in our swing. So we're going to have the club about 1/2 inch to 1 inch behind the drill stick, okay? The hand on the side of the club again so we can apply the pressure. And then you're going to make a backswing and try and jump the fence. Can you see how when I add a little bit of lateral movement in, and I use my left leg to post up at the correct time, my right shoulder and right hand can push past my body and help me keep the pressure on the handle for long enough to delay the club's descent into the back of the ball. What you could do when you hit the ball after you've done that drill is make it a little bit more difficult. What I've done is place the ball a bit further forward in my stance, and this is still an 8-iron, and I've put the drill stick just to the right of the middle of my stance. Now this is the third and final phase of this very, very difficult drill, but what we do is we start off with the club behind the drill stick, we swing up, we try and jump the fence and catch the ball first. Let's see if we can do it. So this is very difficult, scared a bit. So up. Quite happy with that, doing that first time. So what we've done is delayed the club's descent to miss the drill stick, which is obviously slightly proud of the floor, and managed to deliver a 4-degree down angle of attack. Remember, this ball was really far forward in my stance, and a 3-inch after low point. And bear in mind, this is an 8-iron. I've managed to get my 8-iron off my front foot, launching at 20 degrees. Many, many people launch the ball far too high, and that's how they lose so much yardage, because they're not really hitting an 8-iron at strike, they're turning it into a pitching wedge. And that's how you start to get this higher launch, higher spin and low carry. One last time. Club, behind the drill stick. The ball, I would say it's about 6 or 7 inches in front, kind of just off my left heel. And again, we're going to go up, jump the fence. I will take those 2 efforts. 6 degrees down, 5 inches after, and even lower on launch angle. Okay guys, so I hope that drill helps. Use it every time in your practice. Start off with this drill and build your way up through the long irons. It would apply to everything, obviously not the driver, but it should really, really improve your quality of ball striking in not that greater amount of time. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button for me and consider subscribing to the channel. There's going to be plenty more videos coming this year, and I would love for you to be part of the journey. So take care guys. I'll see you soon.